Welcome, Sagittarius Rising, Sun or Moon. Please listen to your rising sign first, as this will give you the most accurate placement in the forecast. Now let's have a look at Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto has been here since 2008 and will be here until 2023 in your second house. And with Pluto in this area, you can have a complete metamorphosis in regards to your values. You will be evaluating things such as the material and the psychological, your spiritual values and your material values. Changes in your financial picture can take place over the years. This is a long transit. And with Pluto going through a sign, you usually have a period where Pluto can break things down in that area and then build them up again, totally transforming them permanently once Pluto has moved through there. So throughout this transit, which has been long, since 2008, but usually with Pluto here, like I said, if it starts with a breakdown phase, maybe around when it entered Capricorn, you were in a less positive financial situation. Maybe you've had some hardship or difficulties with work and income for a few years, so you started out in sort of a down phase with less resources, and things have slowly started changing. Maybe you had a lot of different jobs or incomes, and you've been working on this area of your life and your skills and so forth, and changing your source of income. And now slowly you've been building up in this area in order for it to go through a complete transformation, which it will be going through in the next 2 years, as it will reach critical degrees in 2022. It'll have conjunctions with Mars, Venus. There's a Venus retrograde in this area. This is a very potent house for everyone going forward. So you will see permanent changes happening here and reaching an intensity here. Sometimes with this transit, this can also mean that you are investing in property or repairing property, or sometimes also, this is also a reminder to not hold on the things that are finishing at this time, to let go what needs to go. Your attitude about owning things and property and possessions can completely have an overhaul with Pluto here. You may have a different view on material and spiritual values. Maybe materialism is not as important to you anymore. Maybe your moral values and compass is becoming more of a focus for you. There's some people go through a period where they don't want to have material possessions anymore after a period like this, or they start, or it can go the opposite way. But there is one thing that is for sure about this area, is that you will be also dealing with issues in regards to your identity and the connectedness of your worthiness, how you feel your self-worth is being affected, your identity, your confidence is being affected by what you earn, what you own, and what you do. So all of these things will be going through huge changes. And remember that only our inner values is within our control, and that is what we take with us, as we are soulful beings, and our bodies are only temporary for us at this time. Now Neptune is in Pisces and has been here since 2011, 2012, and will be here until 2025 in your fourth house of home and family and domestic affairs. And Neptune here can bring subtle changes and give you chances to reflect on psychological changes that's happening within you. You can sometimes want to make your home beautiful, with Neptune here. Sometimes you can have a bit of a fanatical fantasy about idealizing a beautiful home, being unrealistic about it, and finding that you are unhappy with where you're at. So it's important to get to a realistic viewpoint of this at this time. There can be confusion in regards to home and family, or a feeling like you don't know where you belong, or that there's someone that you can feel abandoned from your family or parents or home. You can feel like someone's against you, or not doing things behind your back, or they're not acting in your best interest or being upfront with you. Sometimes it can be someone that's demoralizing you and making you feel insecure and less confident. Sometimes this can mean the loss of a home, or the loss of a sense of belonging. Communicating with family members or with parents can be difficult at this time. Or communicating with them, or relationships with them, can affect your sense of security or well-being. Sometimes this can indicate a parent getting ill, or a parent having addiction or self-sabotaging issues. And sometimes this can indicate a hospitalization of a person or a parent, if other transits support that. And then Uranus will be in Taurus, and has been since 2018 till 2026 in your 6th house. And with Uranus here, you can go through a period where you're unhappy with work, or you're feeling very limited and you can't be yourself, you can't express yourself, you're not doing things that are fulfilling you. You feel oppressed, or like you're suffocating in some way. So this can be a period where you want to free yourself in some way, or others are placing unrealistic demands on you that are not necessary. So sometimes this transit can make you want to change your job, so that you can have more freedom. Sometimes you want to work independently more on a project, or you want to work by yourself or for yourself. And sometimes you can quit abruptly with this. There can be abrupt, disruptive changes in the workplace with this transit, or in your work environment, in your daily schedules and responsibilities, things that sort of shake this area up. You're usually not very happy with what you are having to deal with at this time on a daily basis. So it's important to make changes in your current job if it's been too dull, or, make changes in the environment, do things a little bit differently. There might be a good idea to look for new responsibilities with different challenges in your job, or to look for a new job. Sometimes this can indicate having to learn new techniques for work, like maybe a new computer program or electronic apparatus that you've never used before, and if you find it challenging and you're kind of peed off about it because you don't want to have to do this. But you will be able to tackle obligations in a more practical manner, and be more conscious and controlled about it. There can also sometimes be issues regarding the thyroid pop up with Uranus here, repressed illnesses, especially if you don't choose change at this time, or becoming more flexible in areas that you've been rigid. Just loosening things up, thinking outside the box, doing things a little bit more differently, and making it a bit more exciting. If you don't, the universe could make these changes for you, and it can be a bit more traumatic and disruptive than what you would have had. Sometimes this can indicate heart issues, accidents, nerve problems, surgery, you can, and this is energy when you are blocking change that can sort of manifest in physical health issues. So it's important to rather let it revolutionize your work or your sense of duty and responsibilities. Maybe you need to let go of some responsibilities, or maybe you are letting go of some responsibilities, or maybe you're getting fired, or maybe you are, just not going to, clean every Thursday and cook supper at 5 every day anymore. And you're going to change that up and not be so rigid in the way you do things. And then Saturn will be in Aquarius since December 2020 until 2023 in your 3rd house. And in this area, you can be confronting the structure of your mind and how it operates on a day-to-day level. How you listen, how you speak, how you pay attention can be affected by this. Your everyday habits need to change with this transit. You need to slow down more, maybe redesign or do things in a different way than normal. Otherwise things just sort of go into like auto mode. You might have more difficulty interacting with people, not wanting to accept changes. People might not want to accept your changes, or the fact that maybe you're not wanting to communicate as much at this time. You may have more serious thoughts, or be more depressed, or feel more separated from others. You might not go out as much or communicate as much, and you have more distance from your usual neighborhood or your usual come and goes in your everyday life. You may find that you're more separated from siblings, relatives, and loved ones at this time. Maybe you are learning online. Maybe you're going to school online. And maybe you are in a phase in your growth where you are sort of coming out of that child phase of thinking and maturing your thoughts, and you're kind of growing up in a lot of ways, changing your beliefs, maturing mentally, and that can sometimes be difficult as well to put that in words or to explain that to people around you. So sometimes it's better to deal with that by yourself, or you just have a lot of serious thoughts. There can also be suicidal thoughts with this, and depression. So it's important to make sure that you do reach out and talk to people if you feel like you ever get to this point. This has been a very difficult time for everyone, and there's no shame in needing to talk to someone, or if things feel like they're getting too heavy for you. But usually this can indicate issues in regards to relatives, neighbors, friends, and they might also feel a bit discouraged with you maybe not being as communicative as usual. Sometimes this can be due to an illness, that you are less active in the neighborhood or not talking as much. Sometimes it can be difficult to accept yourself, and that is making you withdraw or feeling discouraged, or it can just be plain loneliness, and maybe you're around people that aren't really interested in what you have to say, so you sort of back down. And maybe you're being forced to sort of live according to ideals that has no relevance to yours or anyone else's. You're living to someone else's reality, and it's not really where you want to be or what you want to do, but you're kind of stuck in it, and you have to get through it somehow. And this can sometimes be very much the case, especially if you're still living with parents or living in a situation where you don't really have the control or the money to move or to the power to take your life into your own hands. but you will have more an objective approach to things. But there will be more personal detachment with this transit. And Jupiter will be in Pisces in your 4th house until the 10th of May, where it will ingress Aries in your 5th house. Now, Jupiter will retrograde on the 28th of July and make its way into Pisces October 28th, where it will station direct in November and re-enter Aries on the 20th of December 2022. Therefore, it'll spend approximately 6 months in Pisces and 6 months in Aries. Now, while Jupiter is in Pisces in your 4th house, you will most likely become more confident from within, your inner self. You can become more secure with who you are, and this is a wonderful transit to use for facing fears that stem from your childhood or from your past in some way that may have had some subconscious level of control over your behaviors or choices. During this time, peace and security become highlighted for you, and Jupiter here can improve all the areas of your personal life, family, home, the past, parental relations, etc. For some, Jupiter here can indicate purchasing or moving into a new home, maybe far away, or increasing the space or value of your home, maybe a new addition to the family, maybe the house is expanding or becoming, or your home is in a really beautiful place or a very posh place. Investing in real estate can be good now. If other aspects support this, Jupiter brings healing and joy and the clearing up of issues in all these personal areas of your life, especially your innermost emotional feelings. In some cases, you can have more time reading books or studying at home, or having church gatherings at home or from home as well, or even teaching and learning. And then Jupiter will be in Aries in your 5th house. And your self-expression takes a leap of growth forward. You can much easily be your authentic self around others, and you're not as worried if the real you is applauded or not. So this can be a really wonderful breath of fresh air, especially with the Saturn transit in your 3rd house going on. So this is wonderful. And your creativity can increase greatly, and any new love relationship or relationships with children and most people can improve considerably due to also the truth in action experienced here. If you have children, they may achieve something that you're proud of, or a healing can take place in some cases. For some, this can indicate giving birth or getting pregnant, or dating someone that is much different from you, or that's from a foreign place or speaks a foreign language, or someone that's quite wise that you can learn a lot from. Sometimes this can be someone that's quite well off in life, or already kind of got their poop in a scoop. In some cases, this can indicate travel for fun or involving children, new relationships in love. There can be that you can also be this person for someone else, like I just mentioned. Do not take overly insane risks with gambling or risk-taking with Jupiter here, but overall you'll be ready for much more individual freedom, having fun in new ways, experiencing joy, expressing yourself. There can also be a lot of growth in creative projects if you're starting your own business or anything of this kind. And then we start the year with Mars in Sagittarius to ingress Capricorn on the 24th of January. And this will be in your 2nd house. Now, this is the house that you want to watch, like I've mentioned your Capricorn house, where Mars, Pluto, and Venus come together eventually in March, and also where Venus is retrograding, and where Pluto is reaching critical degrees in 2022 and making major permanent shifts. Now, Mars is exalted here and increases worldly ambition to achieve. It's well organized, it likes regulated action, it likes practical results, and it can be more of a prudish sex drive for some. Now, you can experience gains or losses through secrecy, loss of money, or gain through investments, pleasure, children. In rare cases, loss through gambling. This is important to also watch how fast you eat, to avoid choking. How fast you speak and the words you use when speaking can be quite powerful, but also harsh. So you want to be careful with that. You can identify your ego with what you own with this transit. You may equate your self-worth with what you earn or do for a living, like I've mentioned with Pluto here. You are not what you own or earn. Arguments about values, beliefs, morals, opinions, and their worth can come up with this transit. Disputes over use of property, ownerships, leading to estrangement from others, even committed relationships or business partnerships. You can have a strong desire for possessions with Mars here. There can be more of a wasteful or impulsive emotional spending here. But in some cases, this can just be an indicator that you're using what you have to help you generate an income, or that you're using possessions to help your work in some way. Maybe you're selling some possessions. But it's important to not try and shove your beliefs down other people's throats with this transit. And then Mars will conjunct Pluto on the 3rd of March in your second house at 27 degrees, near its exaltation degree in Capricorn. Now, with this conjunction, we can be more tempted to take control of whatever's happening in our surroundings. So you might want to take control of your income or this area of your life. This can stimulate ambition, but can be violent and disruptive. So this can bring a ruthless energy, ego conflicts, power games, governmental influence, politics at work, or politics in general. It's important to avoid dangerous people or places or dangerous deals. Don't trust people financially. It's great for making changes or doing heavy amounts of work. This can be a gain in power, possibly in some way, either financially or in some kind of a work position. This can be the beginning of also, of transforming this area of your life where you're actually now, maybe you're starting your own business, or it's finally kind of getting to this point where you're making this permanent shift in regards to this area of your life. It can attract violent people if you don't channel this energy properly. It can affect parents as well, the death of a parent or accidents in regards to a parent. There can be business related to death or inheritance or wills or some kind of connection with the afterlife and inheritances and so forth. In some cases, there can also be abuse of power here, or control in regards to money, and this can also involve committed relationships and with manipulation and control, especially where Pluto is involved. Now, Mars will enter Aquarius on the 6th of March in the 3rd house, and this will also trigger the Saturn-Uranus square we've had for most of 2021 and will have into 2022 of the past versus the future, the old versus the new, restriction and freedom. And you may have experienced a lot of this tension already in your 6th and 3rd houses of daily schedules, daily responsibilities and health and relatives and friends. your social life and responsibilities, your purchases, your mind, your training and your work schedule, your mentality or your choices and your daily responsibilities, pets, traveling, pets, your commute and work, your vehicle and responsibilities, your neighborhood or your vehicle and your doctor, the communication you have with relatives, friends, or neighborhood people, and communication in regards to co-workers and employees and so forth. Now, Mars in Aquarius denotes flair for the innovative, doing things in an original and unique way. It seeks freedom of action. It's more sexually cool and unemotional. Mars here can bring journeys through children, fun with children, sport and entertainment. It can bring trouble with relatives, siblings, neighbors. It can make you more prone to car accidents and injuries and harsh words or conflicts with these people I just mentioned. It can bring about aggressive driving, harsh words, powerful words. But in general, you will be busier in your everyday life with this transit. And positively, this is really good to work on something together with a relative or a friend or a sibling or a neighbor, or maybe even someone that you feel maybe you just need to do this to get to know them better so you can sort of straighten things out. Or maybe you're just actually working on some community project together. It's great for selling if you have products that you need to sell. It's great for mental work, but again, be cautious of accidents, issues with your vehicle, internet issues, mechanical issues, injuries to your hands and fingers and lungs, and you can feel more anxious mentally, and overall just a lot more busier in your environment, or have a lot more activity in your environment. And then Mars will conjunct Saturn on the 4th and 5th of April at 22 degrees of Aquarius. And this can be a difficult transit for some. It can cause frustrations, irritations. This is not a good time to do anything risky. You may experience that you have less energy during this time, and you can feel angry without being able to express it. This is a great time to physically work out in order to get rid of this tension and anxiety and stress. It's great for working on something that requires heavy concentration or careful technique though. Caution with machinery, cutting tools, weapons, steel and iron though. But this can be great if you are ready to finally break out of an area of limitation, or an area where you've been feeling oppressed or like you're being suffocated in some way, because Mars will also be squaring Uranus, and this will bring in a more rebellious breakout energy. Like you'll be ready to just like say it as it is and say, this is it, like this is how I feel, I'm done here, or sort of. And this can bring up issues with authority figures, parents, the law, and so forth. So you want to be more careful during this time in controlling your anger or your passion. You can be more inclined to fight for your beliefs and freedoms with Mars here. You can be more easily angered and ask yourself, can I really be myself here? Can I say what I want to say? Can I think the way I want to think? And standing up for your beliefs. Now, this can also bring in a harmful energy in the sense where you could possibly have very negative thoughts. So make sure again that you connect with others if you feel the need to talk to someone, if this is also a time where you want to start paying attention to what is making you feel this way so that you can make the changes necessary. Otherwise, the universe will make them for you, and then it can be quite uncomfortable and disruptive. So you want to start lessening your grip in this area, loosen up, change things so that they feel fresh and new and more authentic and more unique. This is a time, this is Aquarius. You want to do things differently, think outside of the box, and remember that new challenges require new solutions. And again, be careful of accidents. And then we will have Mars in Pisces on the 15th of April in your 4th house, just after Jupiter and Neptune conjuncts on the 12th of April. And during this transit, you can feel a lack of motivation and confidence because Mars functions best under clear direction as well, and in this area of Pisces, and can be more effective in productivity in a quiet atmosphere. So you might find as well that when you are home, or if you're working from home or working on your home, that you want a quiet atmosphere in order to be productive. Maybe put on some nature sounds or spend time in nature. Could be very important for you at this time. You will be more affectionate and more romantic usually with this energy. There can be loss or difficulty through property or trouble with your in-laws or parents. With this transit, there can be conflict with the estate or possessions through discovery or gifts from a grandfather of some kind of inheritance. This transit can sometimes stir up unconscious childhood behavior patterns from the past and make you act inappropriately. And sometimes this can even make you fight over things that you don't even understand. But this is coming up for you in order to heal these wounds from the past and work on forgiveness. It can be very hard for others to work or deal with you at this time because of these behavior patterns being triggered. You can be finding yourself quite busy at home. You're either working at home or working on your home or working a lot on things in the home, repairing things. But you'll want things a certain way, and this can cause domestic strife and even accidents. So it might not be that great living with others at this time. Maybe you feel like you want to be more alone, or you want to live alone, or maybe you move out. There can sometimes be disputes over land and use of land, difficulty with parents. It's better to keep a lower profile during this time, especially at work, because you can deal with opposition there as well. And then Mars will be conjuncting Neptune on the 17th of May at 24 degrees of Pisces. And this transit can bring in some strange feelings for some, being irritable, feeling discouragement or unable to do what you set out to. You can feel more inferior or useless in some way. So it's important to also avoid unhealthy self-sabotaging habits such as drinking too much or using drugs as escapism at this time. You should also be careful of actions based on delusions and being taken for a ride at this time, especially if you're maybe buying property or doing repairs in the home or anything like that. It's better to not start anything new with this transit. It's great for serving others though, or for volunteering. This can sometimes indicate being taken to hospital, or maybe a parent being hospitalized for an illness, or for some kind of addiction or overdose of some kind. So it's very important to be cautious of this at this time. Rest, don't push your body too hard. You do have a lower energy level at this time with Mars and Neptune conjunct. This can also produce a low sex drive, but you'll be more spiritually oriented. You'll be more romantic. You will have probably spending more time making music or listening to music or making art or writing poetry. These are great outlets for some of the energy that you could be experiencing at this time. This is also a great time to maybe practice some yoga or meditate or practice like some kind of martial art to really ground you and balance your body, mind, and soul. And then Mars will be in Aries on the 24th of May in your 5th house. And Mars here is dignified, likes direct and immediate action. It can be aggressive, impulsive. It goes after what it wants. It has courage, it has bravery, energy, and it's more competitive. But it can also come with haste and bring accidents, injuries, and a strong sex drive. Now, Mars here can fail to finish what it started, so you want to be careful of new relationships, as this can mean more like something that might not last. This can more like be an indicator of a one-night stand type of thing, or something that's sort of quick to fade out. This can affect creative projects. Maybe you're starting piano and then you're like, no. But this is a great energy to start maybe some project that you want to further for self-employment. But this can also sometimes indicate some kind of secret sorrow, difficulty through love, gambling, children, sports, creative projects, anything that you kind of build up from scratch can have a lot of energy right now. There can be more love affairs and adventures with this transit. This can mean that you're wanting to invest or gamble, so be careful of that. There can also be a lot of prosperous action with children and fun, also with children and art and entertainment. But Mars here can make you more expressive and demanding to be yourself and to be free. You can take a stance for freedom here. There can be more difficulty with conflicts with children, or with being very busy with children, or your children having a lot of activities going on. There can be anger issues with them. There can be a danger for accidents with children as well. But this is a wonderful energy for sport and creative arts and self-employment, like I've mentioned. There can be a tendency to want to play more and work less. There can be also going over the thought of your needs versus others, and how you spend your time, your free time. Are you too busy to spend time with your children? Are you too busy to have some downtime and have fun? Or are you busy making these things happen as well and creating balance in this area? But you will be more focused on joy, how to be more present. It's important to be in the moment, especially with your children, and letting go more, as this can all bring a certain amount of healing to you during this time, especially also with that Saturn in the 3rd house, and that separation and loneliness may be going on. This is important to interact and have fun and to laugh. Let's see if you can laugh a little here. And then Mars will also conjunct Jupiter on the 29th of May at 3 degrees of Aries. And this is a great energy for physical activity. This can really boost your confidence. So this is great after some of the lower energies we've had. It's important though to not be foolishly overconfident, because this can lead to accidents or humiliation, especially on the sport field as well, and in love, and in performing. So be cautious also of speculation, but this can be a very lucky aspect. So you could be gaining some kind of blessing, some kind of reward, or maybe a child is doing something that you feel very proud about. There can also be a pregnancy here, or a birth of some kind. a birth of a creative project, or maybe a birth of an actual baby, or something that you've built up from scratch like a baby. This is great for muscle building. If you're a bodybuilder, if you're giving childbirth, this will give you the strength to get through that. It's fantastic. And Mars will also be squaring Pluto retrograde in Capricorn while it's here at 27 degrees of Aries. And with this square, we can experience more power struggles. We might want to make headway in a more powerful way here. We can deal with some opposition from others. We may have to take a different course of action with something that we've had planned here. Loose ends can trip us up at this time, so make sure you're paying attention to the details. It's important to resist cruelty, ruthless power, energy, or being underhanded or taking shortcuts, as this can lead to destruction. And you can either be on the giving or receiving end of this, but these are things that we can be dealing with at this time. It's also important that to know that any deceptive behavior that you've been under or that you have been, giving out will be more likely to show up around January of 2023 when Mars is in Cancer. But this energy generally makes you either want to fight or give up on some kind of issue that you are getting opposition from. It's important to avoid dangerous places, people, or situations during this time where you could possibly end up as some kind of victim. It's also important, to stay away from strangers and people that you do not trust, because this can also bring up sexual immorality in some cases. And Mars will be in Taurus in your 6th house on the 5th of July. And Mars is in detriment here, which means it's a bit slower to initiate. So you could maybe have a slow start, but there's practical direction and purposeful action here. There's determination here. And Mars in Taurus likes to focus more on gains. You might want to start something new, maybe start a new job or a new health routine. Mars here likes to work with money or earth materials when it's in Taurus, maybe gardening, farming, pottery. It's got self-sustaining on the mind, owning its own security, and so forth. Mars in Taurus is a more sexual, sensual energy. So you might decide you want to start going for massages as well. It likes to be tangibly touched like that. This could be a time where you might go for physiotherapy as well. Now, Mars here can sometimes indicate illness in regards to children, money being gained through children, pleasure being gained through children, hobbies and pets can come up at this time. So it's important also to watch for injuries there. But there can be difficulty with animals, trouble with employees, limitation due to illness, schedules and responsibilities being quite harsh at this time. But with Mars here, there's a busyness in your day-to-day existence. You're working hard to get things done. You're delaying pleasure willingly in order to get things done. If you don't have anything to do here, it is a good time to find work and to keep busy. This is also a great time for volunteering or working with the less fortunate or with those that need care. But it can be harder for you to work with others during this time because you will maybe act in a more selfish way without even realizing it. So teamwork is not really an option here. If you can avoid it, work on projects by yourself if possible. It can be a time where you want credit for what you do, and you may feel like you're not getting it, or maybe you're not giving your employees credit for what they are doing. So it's important to pay attention to this. It is important to be cautious of accidents, fevers, inflammation, tendencies to infection and muscle injury, getting ill because you're working too hard or you're doing too much. This is a wonderful energy for a new health routine, changing up your schedule, what you eat. It's great for talking out some issues that you need to let out, and to get a physical outlet. Otherwise, things can manifest physically. And then Mars will also conjunct Uranus and the North Node at 18 degrees of Taurus on the 1st of August. And this will also reach a crisis point with this nodal degree. And this conjunction can cause sudden upsets, disruptions, surprises, little earthquakes, financial losses or gains, volatility. Your plans can change. You can have a freak out. There can be a breakout energy to free yourself from limitation. There can be rebellion. There can be accidents or self-harm sometimes, but these are due to the energy not being channeled appropriately. Avoid driving too fast or working with dangerous machinery or tools or weapons or anything sharp if you're angry. This is wonderful energy to create new projects with, to be innovative. You'll want to assert your individuality during this time. So it's important to channel this energy appropriately, and to think outside of the box is very, very important. This is unique, new, fresh energy here. And with this conjunction also to the North Node, you can maybe suddenly find a job, or suddenly change a job, or suddenly get fired. You could break out of some kind of responsibility rut, or you can make a sudden health change, or there can be sudden, health earthquake. But it's important to stay as flexible as you can with this, and remember that these things are happening for your own best good. It's important to let go of toxic self-dialogue at this time with the South Node in the 12th house. Let go of jealousy, fear, and obsession, and heal your self-worth issues. You can be more psychic during this time and experience intense dreams. And realize that you need to rely on your faith more, and you might become more aware of subconscious patterns that seem to control you in some self-sabotaging ways. That's coming up in order for you to heal them. But there can be sudden shifts and changes in your health and daily work schedules, routines, and environment. Now let's have a look at the retrogrades for 2022. Now Mercury will retrograde from air to earth. So from Aquarius to Capricorn, Gemini to Taurus, and Libra to Virgo. And we will deal with the normal general Mercury retrograde topics such as mental activity, anxiety. Common topics are misunderstandings, transportation and communication issues. Mistakes, loss of passwords, loss and damage to electronics, email errors, retesting, redoing, reevaluating, changing your mind, reversals, cancellations, people from the past saying hello there, and banking errors, card errors, electricity and internet malfunctioning, car malfunctioning, mechanical faults, wrong numbers, rerouted traffic, burst pipes, accidents, my fridge suddenly doesn't work, and those types of issues. So no buying new electronics if possible, no signing contracts you can't get out of, or starting new things if you can wait. You want to rather review, adjust, plan and prepare, write things down, and so forth. Now, Mercury will retrograde Aquarius at 10 degrees to 24 degrees of Cap, and that will be for 21 days from January 14th till the 4th of February. And topics included can be friends, alliances, groups, politics, co-workers, people and organizations, governments, showing their true colors during this time. There can be topics such as future goals, markets and supply lines, legislation, social life, freedom and individuality, our rights, the collective, radio frequency, internet, electronics, AI, career, property, and commitment imbalances, hard work, sadness, serious responsibilities, separations, teeth, bone, and mineral topics can come up during this retrograde in general. And then for you, this will be in your 3rd and 2nd house. And so therefore, so this can affect issues in regards to your life direction, your career, your public status, whether you're married or divorced, your position at work, maybe something that you have tried to say to the people in your life, or some kind of idea that you've put across to them. This can be your relationships, your close relationships, your one-on-one love relationships with a spouse, a business partner, your relationship with the public. This can be lawsuits, opponents. This can also be your communication, your neighbors, relatives, siblings, your immediate environment, your mental capacity, what you're thinking about, your commute to work, your online work, your home, your family, your roots, your most innermost feelings, and your home itself and property. So these are all extremely important houses, the 10th, the 7th, the 4th, and then also the 3rd. So this is a very intense Mercury retrograde for you. So you will definitely be feeling this. So just take things slow, write things down, double check things, be really clear and direct in your communication to avoid misunderstandings during this time. And then Mercury will retrograde from the 4th degree of Gemini to 26 degrees of Taurus from May 10th to the 3rd of June for 24 days. And all the general Mercury retrograde topics will apply here. And you can also add that people might be quite brutally honest during this time. You can deal with gossiping, rumors, people sticking their nose in your business, flights delayed, schedule changes, plans changes. So it's best to rethink, double check, proofread, direct communication. Across the board for the world, we can see a lot of chaos financially with banking, markets, agriculture, values in general, skills, talents, how we make money, our work, our values. So be cautious in how you spend, what you eat, rethinking your spending and investments. Staying flexible is important now to be able to move when there's sudden disruptions or sudden turnarounds of events that you did not expect. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Now this Mercury retrograde can affect especially your 7th, 10th, and 6th houses. So again, your relationships, again, your career, life direction area, and then also your daily schedules, your daily work environment, your responsibilities, your health routines, how you take care of yourself. And this can also be in connection to your vehicle and driving and accidents and so forth. And then Venus will retrograde from the 19th of December until the 29th of January 2022, conjunct Pluto in that Capricorn house I've been telling you about. So we'll start the year out with Venus retrograde here. And She'll be retrograde from 23 degrees Capricorn to 11 degrees of Capricorn and for 28 days. And this is not counting in her shadow periods. Now, with Venus in Capricorn in general, I'm going to quickly just go over some of these themes. Venus in Capricorn brings about slow love, less emotional, more business kind of love. She knows what she wants here. She wants to know if it's long-term, if it's going to last. Is this good for her? Does she gain anything from this? Is this going to take her further? Is this secure? This is money for love and love for money. This is business, marriages, mercenary intentions, old money, age differences in love, love separated, mature love, sophisticated love, love occupied, unavailable, restricted or forbidden in some way, love at work. There can be jealousy, manipulation, obsession, power struggles, and possessiveness with this energy, especially with Pluto here. There can be a reality check in love here and money. There can be a tendency to want to take relationships to the next level, whether it's a job position or a business relationship or a love relationship. You want to get engaged or married or something like this. But there's supported love here. This can also be an energy of mourning love that's gone. There can be power moves here with property, banking, money, and values. And maybe with Venus here retrograding, we can deal with issues regarding love, money, values, beauty, pleasure, sweet things, our self-worth, our work, how we earn money, our relationship between the material and the spiritual, how we identify with what we earn and what we do, and our self-worth. All these things can come up and be questioned with this retrograde. We can have unexpected expenses show up out of nowhere. We can have returns that we have to do. Laziness in this area can happen. We can be more comfort oriented. We can also see a lot more news articles about maybe expensive art or something like this. This is also a time where you may decide to change up your looks, or you may want to mature your style more and look more sophisticated, maybe decorate your work environment. Maybe you are selling lipstick. Maybe we'll be seeing a lot of sex trafficking revelations here. Maybe you're in for a deep teeth clean or teeth whitening, that kind of thing. There can be, well, put it this way, you do not want to be doing any beauty procedures here. You don't want to get married. You don't want to get engaged. You don't want to make big purchases that you could regret or big investments that you're unsure of, because things can change and reverse with Venus in retrograde here. So it's best to postpone, plan, reevaluate, check, balance this area. And for you, this is in your third house. In your second house. So this can also be a time where you're more stubborn and you're more lazy at work or don't really want to work as hard. This can affect your spending, maybe buying things that are too expensive or wanting to return things, so be careful here. This can also sometimes bring in self-doubt or a lack of confidence with Venus retrograde here, but you'll definitely be questioning your values and your spending and your earnings and your work, because this is Venus's natural house, the second house. Sometimes you can feel ugly with Venus retrograde here. Your inner values will come into question and your self-worth, and also your committed love relationships and your relationships with money. And also food. So your food intake, sugar, what you drink can also come under question with Venus here retrograde in your second house. And then Mars will retrograde from the 30th of October till the 12th of January 2023 for 63 days from 25 degrees of Gemini till 8 degrees of Gemini. But Mars will also be in mutual reception with Mercury and Scorpio at this time. So your Scorpio and Gemini houses will also be kind of working together in some way. And Mars is our willpower. It's our go planet. It's our passion. It's our drive. And with Mars retrograde, it can be harder for us to be assertive. Our energy levels can be affected. And it's best for us to complete projects that we've already started when Mars is retrograde. So be mindful also of how you channel this energy, as you can feel more irritated, more easy to anger. So avoid outbursts, rather exercise and get rid of excess energy or strain. Use this time to build websites, strategize, get your admin out of the way, repair, redo, renovate, do the little things that you can get out of the way in the meantime. Collectively as well, we can see more debates, more accidents, more arguments, more cities in chaos, more transportation issues and car malfunctioning or machinery accidents, car explosions. There can be a lot more verbal fights, mental activity, more movement in the neighborhoods, more information wars. The media, technology can be affected, the internet, power outages. There can be shoplifting and theft more topically with this energy. And this energy is very similar to a Mercury retrograde when Mars is retrograde in Gemini. So you'll see a lot of the same stuff come up as well. And we might have more blockages and not get as much done as we would normally like to, because we're kind of getting messed around a bit. But Mars can be helpful in helping us to slow down and reflect on our desires and to rethink and analyze what upsets us and why, and where it is coming from, and how we can transmute that into healing and learning from this. Because ultimately, when we're in Gemini, we're learning. And when we have Mars retrograde here, we can also get a lot of wonderful ideas, maybe a lot. So take notes. You may be rethinking your vehicle condition or driving or your commute to work or where you live, your neighborhood, your relatives, your connection with them emotionally as well. So be careful, as you can be more emotionally reactive during this time. You can have a sharp tongue. You can be very busy and impulsive, so you're more injury prone as well. So be careful, as these following areas can be more sensitive. You can pull a muscle, you can have an asthma attack, you can get inflammation, anxiety, your lungs can be more sensitive. You can have joint displacements or dislocations. You can have cuts and bruises on arms and hands. So just be more, take a step back. Take a breather. Use those lungs for what they're meant to be used for. There can be a time where you're studying or restudying things, or learning new technology, or redoing tests. You might be working online and having to redo things here. Changes in relationships and communications here. Your mind can be more fragile and sharp. There can be, you can get in trouble for what you say with this transit, even if you're joking, so be more careful. Gossip, rumors, and business schemes can be a feature. Fighting your fight with words, like I've mentioned. Freedom of speech and movement can come up during this time. Erotic fantasies and dirty talk can come up at this time. You can be more curious. You can be more active in your neighborhood, or there can be more action in your neighborhood. There can be more fights in regards to standing up for opinions and beliefs with this Mars retrograde. People can take to the streets. Now, this is more so for you in your 7th and 12th houses. So this can sometimes bring in conflicts in relationships with your loved ones, a spouse, business partners. An old partner can return into your life somehow or make contact, or there can be issues connected to that old partner that you need to deal with, even on an emotional level. There can be issues that come up in regards to compromise, collaborations. There can be frustrations, even breakups with this energy. You can feel a bit you can be too competitive with this energy as well. And act more selfishly and not wanting to compromise with your spouse or a business partner or so forth. So be a bit more mindful of that and take others' concerns into consideration as well. Just take a step back and breathe. And this can also work in conjunction with your 12th house of endings, addictions, your sleep patterns, your subconscious, your spiritual side, self-sabotaging behaviors, that type of thing. So there can be secrets as well that can be revealed during this time. A letting go of some kind here. But this can also bring up issues in connection to love affairs or things that's been hidden that gets to be revealed or communicated about, or that's finally being talked about in the relationship as well. And in general, your psychological well-being. And then Jupiter will retrograde on the 28th of July till the 23rd of November for 118 days, from 8 degrees of Aries to 28 degrees of Pisces. And with Jupiter retrograde here and in Aries, we can see new leadership as well. Now, we can be reviewing things we want to start or take further or expand and grow in some way. We can be overconfident or over-optimistic or arrogant and selfish with this transit. We can be more accident-prone, promise things we don't deliver. We can make huge mistakes, or we can make huge breakthroughs and huge leaps of growth during this time. So it's important for us to not go overboard and overindulge and over. We need to stay in moderation and stay realistic with this. Liver issues can be triggered with this, so watch your intake. This is a time where you want to ask yourself, what spiritual lessons am I here to learn? Where can I be less about myself and more about others? And you will see that you will have opportunities to create your own luck with this transit. Watch your impulsiveness and anger flare-ups, mechanical issues or fire issues. What is happening that you need to learn from, or who can you learn from during this time, or what are you teaching others? What is your truth? And this is important to remember, that this transit is about personal growth. Now, once it's in Pisces, we can be reviewing our visions, our ideals, our beliefs. We're more compassionate than usual. We can have more of an emphasis on the meaning of life, our innermost authentic selves, our deepest values, morals, integrity, and beliefs. And we turn more spiritually inwards with this transit. Now, we will be also more being aware of our connectivity to God, our source, the universe, each other, and more about our similarities and connectivity as human beings than our separativeness and differences. And this will primarily affect you in your 5th and 4th houses. So you can also be having more fun and experience spiritual growth through fun, and epiphanies through laughter, and realize through spending time with your children, get some real breakthroughs spiritually as well, realize some things spend some time in the sun, get some vitamin D, be creative. This is a good time to cut negativity and to really just have some joy and laughter in your life. A new person can come into your life with this transit, but it'll be someone that you're going to be learning from, or someone that you'll want to have a more spiritual connection with this person, or this person could be from a foreign country or different from you in some way, and be more well off in a sense, have all their ducks in a row, and they will, either way, they will change the way you see the world. And maybe they take you on a trip somewhere far away. And then there can also be strong karmic links with this transit. You can maybe revisit home or a childhood place or your roots with this transit. You will gain more spiritual understanding also about your family tree, what makes you you. You can create opportunities in expanding your home as well. And this can mean that you're moving into a new home, or you're moving to a beautiful place, or you're just moving to a faraway place, or just moving, period. And then Saturn will retrograde from the 4th of June till the 23rd of October for 141 days, from 25 degrees of Aquarius to the 18th degree of Aquarius. And Saturn here, we review committed and serious relationships in general, our reality, our life goals, our responsibilities, our direction in life. We rebalance our duties, we restructure, we look at how we manifest our reality. Saturn reminds us of the aspects of life we cannot avoid, like rules, responsibilities, the length of life we have, our skin color, restrictions, taxes, commitments, and time itself, or bodily limitations even. Saturn, the area that it affects, requires restructuring here, can experience delays, frustrations, blockages, sometimes endings, separations. Sometimes there's sadness here, loneliness, depression, a cruelty, a coldness, a callousness with this energy. Now, Saturn here is not an easy transit to begin with, and with Saturn retrograde, we can sometimes be misunderstood. So we're getting lessons in learning how to communicate and how to say what we need to say. This can also bring more clear and truthful communication to the forefront. This can be a time where you speak even less, maybe, or when you do speak, your words carry a lot of weight. You don't want to discuss or entertain yourself with superficial things during this time. You may also be spending more time around more mature and older people, or maybe if you're younger, with more adults than usual. This can also bring cutting ties with relatives or siblings or a group of friends or alliances. So connections here can be tested. This can be joining or separating from these. This is a time where you can also experience car issues, traveling issues, commute issues, rerouting, traffic jams, construction in your neighborhood, and issues like that. Now, the Nodal Axis, which guides our moon's ecliptic path and determines the eclipse placements, move into a fixed sign polarity on the 19th of January 2022, with the North Node ruled by Venus in Taurus and the South Node ruled by Mars in Scorpio. Now, this puts us on the financial axis, the power and control axis. So this brings up issues for us for the next 18 months in regards to mine and yours, obsession, power, jealousy, control, manipulation, bullying, stubbornness, agriculture, land, equalities, fairness, wounds, secrets, sexual scandals, sex, abuse of power, sex trafficking, truths being revealed, new currencies coming out, new financial systems, financial crisis, electronic money, energy medicine, food sourcing, communities, and sharing in general, our skills, our resources. We are dealing with what is necessary and unnecessary. Where can we simplify and be more manageable? Where can we let go, recycle, reuse, minimize, detox, get rid of what doesn't serve you anymore? What do you really need? Where can you get rid of clutter and release unnecessary grip, unnecessary structures? What skills do you have? What can you do with your hands? Let go of fear and uncover truth. Live fully now and give it your all. This is a more stubborn, determined, all or nothing, brave energy. This is a survival energy. It's a year of extremes, and we will be more geared towards getting rid of toxic energy, healing old wounds, becoming more self-sustainable, wanting to know and grow our own food, going back to basics, teaching our children how to make things. And the eclipses will be primarily then in these houses for the next 18 months. And as you know, that during eclipses, we have fated events. We have energy portals for souls moving in and out of this dimension. We have 6-month effects with eclipses, sometimes more or less, depending on other cycles involved. But I would say, let's just call it a 6-month term. But the last time we had them in these areas were in 2004-ish. So you can think back at what happened for you during that time, what themes can be revisited. But there can be sudden different directions, truths being revealed, transformations, sudden fated turnarounds that can be shocking, that can be uncomfortable, that can be disruptive, but that catapults you into an area that you are divinely supposed to move towards, regardless of how comfortable it may seem. Now, for you, you will have a solar eclipse in the 6th house of Taurus of your chart, and this is on the 30th of April. And this is a new beginning, a fresh start, a new leaf being turned, a new idea, a seed of intention in the area of work. So this can be a new job, a new position, new responsibilities at work, or is just in your daily life. This can be a new work environment, maybe a new outfit for work. This can also have something to do with an uncle or an aunt. There can be a new health habit that you are starting at this time. Maybe you're joining a gym. Maybe you are starting to become more aware of your self-care routines and making sort of a point of becoming more responsible towards your health. This can also affect pets. This can be a new pet or a new routine with a pet. And maybe you're just starting a new routine for your day-to-day structuring of your day. This can involve food, health, chores, all of the above. And then you will have on the 16th of May a lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 12th house. Now this can be a culmination or an ending or a fruition of some kind, or a completion of or something coming to a head in your 12th house of endings. And so this can be letting go of a self-sabotaging habit like smoking, or negative thoughts, or dealing with subconscious behavior patterns that's been unhealthy for you. This can be maybe finally revealing some things that's been swept under the rug and dealing with those. This can be also the end of maybe depression, or the end of a hospitalization period, or the end of a period of separation or illness, a healing that's taken place, and you can now sort of move forward from this. This can also be the end of a holiday, or maybe working in a faraway place, returning home, an end of a period of separation. And then on the 25th of October, there's a solar eclipse in that same house of Scorpio, in your 12th house. So this can be a new leaf being turned over here, a new beginning, a fresh start. So this can be a new healthy habit in regards to maybe going for counseling and getting help with things that you've been sort of putting off. Or this can be replacing drinking alcohol with soda water, or you know, finally maybe you're starting to volunteer in a hospital, or helping others in some way, or working in a faraway place. Maybe this is a retreat that you're planning, or some getaway, or a new meditation technique, or you're starting a yoga routine, or some body, mind, and soul practice. And then on the 8th of November, there is a lunar eclipse in Taurus, in your 6th house again. And this again is a culmination, an ending, a fruition, or a harvesting period for you in the 6th house. So maybe you have completed a very important task or project that's come to fulfillment. Maybe you are done a job, or you are done working at a job and you are quitting. You're ready to say cheers. Or maybe you are changing some responsibilities or employees, or maybe you're terminating a tenant's contract that's renting from you, or maybe you are quitting some kind of routine that's not good for you anymore. Maybe you're quitting sugar. Maybe you are starting to take better care of yourself here. Now, Sagittarius Rising, thank you for allowing me to guide you through the general astrology potentials for 2022. You are going through a lot of changes on international levels, with international affairs, spiritual values, learning, and your world perspectives are changing. Your daily structures are having a turnaround. And these are all things that you will be seeing through the next year and 18 months moving forward. And remember that there's always good and bad with all of these changes. Some of these can be rocky, but these things are ultimately happening for you and not against you. This is for your own growth. And just remember that this too shall pass if any of these things are uncomfortable. Do also check out my general astrology potentials collectively for 2022. I'll put the link below. May God bless you and keep you, and may the sun shine bright on you this day and this year going forward. Until next time.